Welcome to YOUREDDIT TTS. Massage therapist or masseuse, have you ever had a session turn sexual with a client? How did it go down? I have a different side of story. I was about 15 years old when that happened and it still gives me creeps. After a car accident I was assigned a massage therapist to massage my shoulder, since it was injured. Nothing else, just my hand and shoulder. So I come to the session and see this really young guy waiting for me. I asked him, "Can I keep my clothes?" and he said that I should be in my underwear. Already felt weird, but whatever, I carried on. So I lay on the table and he massages me, when suddenly he starts massaging my back. Then lower back. I already felt super uncomfortable at this point. And then he pulls a bit of my underwear. And think of fact that his hands were really oily. He slipped his hands right in between my beep. Oh my god. It was almost the end of the session and it did not last long, but I was so shocked that I freezed. I dressed up and I went to the reception to cancel any sessions with him. I did not report the beep accident. All the receptionist said, "What went wrong?" The old ladies love this guy. You will make one happy by giving your space. I have a story as a client. I used to live in a great city located in Southern California. Across the street where I lived was a massage parlor ran out of an old historic home. I used to frequent as much as I could afford and things were great, or so I thought. I had never been to a masseuse before then and thought big tubs, showers, and champagne was normal since it was the only point of reference I had. After each session I had, the ladies frequently asked me if I needed anything else or wanted to extend. Being very budget conscious, I'd say no thank you. It was great though. I'd get dressed and go home. On my last occasion though, things just felt off. She had me flipped from my stomach and massaged my quads and let her fingers drift a little and would ask me if I wanted anything more. I'd sheepishly reply no, this is great, thank you. As we finished she asked me one more time if I'd like anything else, but I declined. A few weeks later I'm walking home from work and the police are all over my street. As many of you have already guessed, they were busting the place for being a known brothel. I tiptoed back home and waited for them to come to my house and bust me, but thankfully that never happened. My mom is a masseuse and she says there are a lot of instances where clients try to make things sexual but she never reciprocated, but it can get pretty nasty. One time she told me that a dude asked her to massage down there and she refused, so he grabbed her boob and just kept his hand there for a while, and my mom didn't know what to do so she just kept doing her job. There are also instances of people calling to make appointments and ending the call with "Do you guys suck it?" Because I guess they think they're being subtle. Other than that, there's a lot of unnecessarily sexual moaning, but my mom just thinks that's funny. I had a man and his wife come in a couple months ago. Cute couple. They wanted to be in the same room, which is typical. I was working on the husband. As I was doing that I kept feeling him brush his hand against my leg. So I put out up on the table to get it out of the way. My thought was I was probably accidentally bumping into him or something. Well, a few weeks later husband comes back again, alone this time. Same thing happened. Then all of a sudden his arm shoots up and his hands try to find their way down into my pants. I yelled and fell backwards into the wall. He gets up and tells me to hush. My boss knocks on the door and see the man standing over me naked. Yeah, he went to jail. Moral of the story: respect your massage therapists. This isn't a movie. Most of us have student loans we're just trying to pay off. My wife's sister had a male client who after the session decided to jerk off when she left him to allow him to get dressed. She saw he had jerked off all her massage table and had gone through a lot of tissues trying to clean it up. So the salon issued a warning on his account to remove all tissues and towels from the room once the massage is done. My wife said it was the funniest thing when he came in again. After the massage she calls the front desk and two girls come in and take everything out of the room. He got dressed really fast and left in shame and never came back. I am a massage therapist. I was working out of a gym and the guy asked for a 30 minutes massage on his legs and abs because he was a runner. Nothing unusual about that request. So I finished massaging his legs and was massaging his abs. I pulled down the sheet to his hip so his abs are exposed. He is completely naked under the sheet, not unusual, but the sheet is covering his privates. As I'm massaging his abs, he reaches his hand up to scratch his nose, but when his hand goes back down he accidentally pulled down the sheet to expose his junk. I'm not bothered, I just pulled the sheet back up over his junk and keep working. Then the sheet accidentally slipped down his hip again after another minute. So this time I grabbed the sheet and tucked it around him this time and kept working without a word. He didn't try again. I continued as if nothing had happened, finished the massage like a professional and sent him on his way, and thankfully he never came back. My mom is a massage therapist. She has worked at several chiropractic offices. Oftentimes, if you're good enough and trustworthy enough, the chiropractors will give you the keys so you can see clients on the weekends. I once had to take an Uber to her work when she was scheduled to massage this one guy. He was married and new to the US. He had been sending messages to my mom, which made her question his intent, but chalked it up to him not speaking a lot of English. I get a call from her telling me to Uber to her place of work as soon as possible. Apparently the guy had sent a message with this code phrase that in the massage world means things are going to become sexual, so I'm the first to arrive. My mom gets there and tries to downplay the situation to make herself feel better by saying things like, well, maybe he just didn't know what that meant. I could be drawing a conclusion that isn't true. He has a wife after all. Man comes in with candy and flowers. He sees me sitting in the chair really confused. Hands them to my mom. She massages him. He pays her. Gives me a sideways glance, and leaves. I had a client start flirting with me while on my table. I reminded her that the session is purely medical and I'd like to keep the conversation about her and what she's dealing with. She stroked my leg once in a sexual manner and I threatened to end the session there if she tried something like that again. After that the rest of her session was smooth. I take stuff like that pretty seriously. I'm not setting our profession back 30 years because some people think someone touching them means anything sexual. This was after a few years of no sexual anything with anyone, but regardless, I'm not throwing away years of hard work and risking a lawsuit over someone feeling frisky. Client here. So I had a buddy who lived with a guy I didn't really know. The dude mentioned that his girlfriend was in MT school and needs to clock hours and was only $50 per session, which was pretty good, so I told him I'd be glad to be her customer. She was my therapist for a couple months. I had been through a bad breakup, so she doubled as a listening ear. Months down the road her and that guy broke up. I asked him if it was an issue to keep using her for massages. He was cool with it. On a 5-hour drive back from a road trip with some friends we had a flat tire. I called her and told her that I had to reschedule. She said no, she'll stay up and wait. At this point I was suspicious of her intentions, cause why stay awake till 12 p.m. for a massage, but I didn't care because she was beautiful. Well, turns out I was right. Got done with the massage, offered her a back rub as thanks for staying awake waiting for me, then it just immediately evolved into kissing, clothes off, then the rest. We hooked up on and off for about a year, but that's a whole different story. I'm a male and I was a massage therapist for 5 years. I only had one lady that made me uncomfortable during a massage by asking me what my fetishes were and what not. It was pretty easy to change the subject to something else. Most of the time it was guys trying to push it by brushing their hands against my legs on purpose. I'm talking obviously on purpose, or weird shit like thrusting their hips upwards while making straight eye contact. It's kind of easy to gauge from the get-go when someone is expecting something else. I've always been able to diffuse the situation, but if all else fails we are trained to just end the massage and document. Then the client knows they FCKD up as they get dressed, knowing their creepiness just made their massage shorter and they still have to pay. I'm a male massage therapist and it was really close to getting sexual. I had a client who was in constant pain in her back. She had multiple reasons for it, but I'm not a doctor so I can tell her how to fix it. Just keep telling her to go to her doctor to give her a prescription for PT and combine it with MT and it'll help a lot. Well, she liked my style of massage and I was one of the few people who had dramatically decreased her pain. One day, she calls to make an appointment because her pain was so bad she needed an emergency massage. Helped her out and she was so happy that she kissed me on the cheek. Now, I was okay with that. I understand that pain sucks and not having it is great. A coworker saw and just said AWWW. Because she knew how much I helped her. We became friends on Facebook and then it got to a place it shouldn't. I love my job, I loved making people feel better. Where she wanted to go I could have easily lost my job. You see, she was married with a kid. She messaged me asking if I thought she was attractive and if I wanted to explore under the sheets during our next session she would be fine with that. Next session happened and I didn't do that because I'm not getting a lawsuit. I paranoid about that. Then came the message I was hoping not to see. I was moving to another state and she wanted to give me a goodbye present. She said that she wouldn't tell anyone about it and that it would stay just between us. She said how it would give me so much confidence for the move and that she was great at what she did. I told her I think about it. 3 days later I messaged her saying that I couldn't do it. I told her that it was and because I didn't find her attractive she was pretty good looking but it was the fact that she was married that was the deal breaker. She said she understood and that was that. Here I am a couple years later and it makes me kinda sad about her situation along with the millions of other people in her case. You see, I'm not an attractive man. I overweight but I have a great personality. But I was the one who was listening to her and asked about how she was doing and so on. She was married to a man who was busy doing his own thing all the time that she felt and wanted. And so, naturally she went to the one person who paid her attention, me. So I would just like to say this to the few people who took the time to read this. You are loved, you are wanted, even if it seems you aren't, somebody you know cares about you. If you feel like unnoticed, sad, and depressed, please let those around you know. It is okay to ask for the validation that you mean something to someone. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like, comment and subscribe.